You're watching News 3, the Southern Illinois news leader. Live from WSIL TV in high definition. News 3 starts right now.
In this half hour, jobs are coming to the region, including a big hiring spree at a Mount Vernon employer. We'll take a closer look at all the opportunities in our Job Squad report. Plus, lawmakers in Springfield debate the state budget. We could see an action plan later today. We'll have a preview coming up. And it's a history lesson on the SIU campus. An alum is sharing stories about the Thompson House this morning in a live interview. Good morning, 6:31. Thank you so much for waking up with us on this Wednesday.
Grab a cup of coffee. We've got plenty to talk about this half hour. First, Ashley has the latest on the forecast, and it's definitely a good day to maybe stay inside and drink coffee, Ashley, if you can.
It is going to be one of those days where if you do have to be outside at all, you're not going to want to be outdoors for very long, and definitely grab the raincoat, the umbrella, the whole 9 yards as you make your way out the door this morning. We are going to see that rain throughout much of the day today. Showers right now moving in from the southwest. All of that heading toward southern Illinois right now. Parts of southeastern Missouri kind of half wet, half dry. And that's going to be the case today. While some folks are seeing the rain, others will be dry for at least a period of time. But everybody's seeing the wet stuff at some point today. Temperatures right now in the 40s and 50s, 51 in Harrisburg, 50 in Mount Vernon, 48 in Jonesboro. We will remain in the 50s all day long with a high of only 58 with scattered showers throughout the afternoon. We'll talk more about our rain chances and also look ahead to the weekend coming up. For now, back to you guys.
6:32 and on the crime watch this morning, police are still looking for two suspects who held up a bank in Murfreesboro. Investigators say those men walked into the Old National Bank on Walnut Street shortly after 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon. They had guns and demanded cash, then ran away. This is the second robbery at the bank in 4 months. There was a holdup in late January that remains unsolved. At this point, investigators do not believe the two crimes are related.
Closing arguments are expected today in a Williamson County murder trial. Cindy Stearns is charged in the 2011 death of her father. The 73-year-old was shot to death at his home in Freeman Spur. The defense presented its case yesterday. We'll have updates tonight on News 3. A judge in South Africa has ruled that Oscar Pistorius must undergo a mental health evaluation. It comes after a psychiatrist called by the defense testified that Pistorius suffers from an anxiety disorder. The judge says the evaluation must take place to ensure Pistorius gets a fair trial. The prosecution and defense attorneys will now work together to sort out those details. You may remember Pistorius is accused of killing his girlfriend last year on Valentine's Day.
Governor Quinn hopes lawmakers will support his plan to keep the state income tax in place. Several committees will meet later today to discuss the fate of two different spending plans. One budget includes an extension of the temporary income tax increase that was passed in 2011. The other plan is full of cuts that would be necessary if the tax falls back to its previous rate of 3.75%. Now, Quinn says if that happens, there would be a shortfall of nearly $2 billion. Health centers around the state could soon see a few upgrades. It's part of a $14.5 million project to renovate facilities and build new complexes. The grant will go to non-for-profit health centers across the state that treat high-risk patients in underserved communities. The funds for the project are coming from video gambling, tax on alcohol, candy, soft drinks, and driver's license fees.
You have the chance to talk with one of your lawmakers later today. Congressman Bill Inyard is holding office hours around the region. He'll be making stops in Marion, Benton, and Mount Vernon. Constituents are invited to come meet with Inyard one-on-one to talk about job creation, the economy, or any other issues that's going on. No appointment is necessary, but availability is limited. And as numbers on the thermostat start to rise, so will many people's electric bills. But there could be a few ways to save some cold, hard cash.
News 3's Michelle Medeiros is live in our conference room this morning. Michelle.
Again, some really good tips to check into this summer. Reporting live in Carterville, Michelle Medeiros, News 3.
Thank you for that, Michelle. And Ashley, today may not be a day to need that air conditioner.
Yeah, or that swimming pool. It seems like just the other day we were all wanting to take a dip. Now, not so much. It's going to be cool and wet all day long. We'll talk more about it coming up next in the forecast.
Putting accuracy first. This is News 3 weather.
We are seeing mostly cloudy skies, really overcast skies, no matter where you are, and some rain depending on your location. Some of those showers starting to move off to the north and east, but more headed in our direction. So even if it's dry where you are right now in Williamson County, actually seeing some drier conditions, at least compared to what we have seen over the past several hours. But the rain is going to return throughout much of the day today. Temperatures right now in the 40s and 50s. Not only is it going to be wet, but also rather cool, almost chilly, really, once you factor in the moisture out there. 50 right now in DeCoin, 52 in Fairfield, 49 in Goreville. There's the rain right now. As I mentioned, starting to move off to the northeast, but some more widespread rain showers further down to the southwest. All of that kind of moving its way into our region. Parts of western Kentucky could see some thunderstorms today, but kind of right on the eastern fringe of our viewing area. Most of that kind of pushing into central Kentucky later today, where actually there is a risk for severe storms just off to our east, where the cold front is actually setting up. For us here at home, it's just going to be those more nuisance showers than anything, bringing us even more rainfall than what we've already seen, taking us back to the last 24 hours. Some locations more than 3/4 of an inch. We're just going to get more today and tomorrow as well. So that could add to some of those not necessarily flooding issues, but just the water sitting in many locations. A lot of those storm drains doing their best to kind of get rid of it, but a lot of areas dealing with some high water. We are also going to see very cloudy conditions today. Yesterday we saw a couple breaks in the clouds. I don't really see it happening today, and even if it does, it's not going to last very long. That cold front just doesn't look like it's going to move very far from our region, so because of that, we're going to deal with the chance for rain not only today but into tomorrow as well. Cooler behind that front, and that's where we are. So our temperatures are going to remain below normal through the rest of the extended forecast, eventually starting to rebound by next week. So kind of steady rains throughout the day today for many of us, and then they start to taper off overnight. But then on Thursday, watch what happens. That center of low pressure is just off to our north, and that counterclockwise flow around it will bring in more moisture and scattered showers for Thursday and Friday, and rainfall totals will be close to an inch. That's only from what we're going to see today and into tomorrow. So that's adding to what we've already seen, and then we may even see some additional rainfall totals beyond Friday morning. Temperatures on Friday will remain in the 60s, but just a few showers. The rain chances are going to kind of lessen each and every day, and eventually by Saturday, that's when we'll see dry conditions across the region. It looks like the entire weekend will remain dry, with temperatures starting to make their way back to close to normal, near 70 by Sunday and mid 70s on Monday.
We were talking about yesterday, you and I were able to get outside and run. It was not too bad sprinkle. You think today there's going to be a chance of that, or maybe not?
It's not for the faint of heart, this kind of weather. I mean, if you're gonna be going out in that weather, then it's not for fun. It's for fitness, I guess. You don't enjoy being outside in those kinds of conditions. I think today's worse than yesterday, though.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I know, unfortunately.
All right, thanks, Ashley. Up next, local Civil War history and a little fictitious fun are bringing some SIU campus history to life.
We'll have more on that and a live interview with the author behind that new book. Stay with us. You're watching News 3 This Morning.
Welcome back, 646. An SIU alumna is bringing some campus history to life in her new book. Dr. Patricia Quande grew up in the Thompson house that you see it used to sit on this property here. It once stood in the Thompson Woods on SIU's campus. A Ghost in the Garden is a children's mystery. It centers around local Civil War history and fictionalized accounts of her 4 young friends and their adventures. And Patricia will host a walk and talk about her book starting at the Morris Library and going into the woods tomorrow from 10 until 11. And she joins us now with more details this morning. Good morning, Dr. Quande.
Good morning, Jake.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
What made you want to write this book?
Well, I actually grew up in that great old house, and I loved it as only a 12-year-old child could. And I was teaching history, Civil War, at Lewis School in 5th grade, and I thought, there should be a way to make history come alive and have people not say, oh, history, there's so much color and so much interest in it, so I decided to write a book for actually a library resource book about the Civil War and about slavery and life in a border state, which was quite different here in Southern Illinois during the Civil War. There were such divided loyalties. So I wove this story. I put a ghost into the house and a quest to save this old house, which I really did want to do, but it was demolished. However, the footprint is still in Thompson Woods, and tomorrow after we're through talking, I'm going to lead a tour and show you exactly where the house house stood at one time before it was torn down.
Now, you touched on the history that influenced the book. Now, your childhood also influenced this book. Some of your memories from playing with kids, your friends and stuff. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's true. We all used to, we were studying the Civil War and the Underground Railroad, and I just was sure this house had to be a stop on the Underground Railroad. And we had two great historians, John Allen and Dr. Pifeman, and they inspired all of us with history and geology and so forth. So I had an interest anyway, but I think it was the house itself was so fascinating to live in. It was so huge, you even had a speaking tube from the second floor to the first floor so you could communicate. And it was a grand experience. We had a great time exploring and looking for secret rooms, which we didn't find, and hope to save the house. But
your imagination just runs wild, doesn't it? The book sounds really interesting. What can people expect if they come out and check out the walk and talk tomorrow?
Well, there's very little left of the old farmstead. You know, the huge barn that was there and all the outbuildings, the stables and so forth are gone. I used to be able to go out and find some timbers left, but anymore there's no sign except the footprint of the house, which is the hole where the Thompson house was. And I will be showing you that. I'll show you the tree, that picture of the tree that had grown up and over the second-story veranda and on up and so forth. So it's mainly that, and you can see where the garden had been at one time because in the spring the daffodils will still come up. So
it kind of brings the setting to life.
Right. Right.
Wonderful to see an SIU alumna doing something, bringing notoriety to the campus and bringing history alive there.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here today, Dr.
Thanks for having me.
Again, the walk and talk is tomorrow starting at the Morris Library. You can call the number that was just on your screen. We'll get those details online a little later this morning. Up next, we'll take another look at the forecast. Plus, we'll let you know who's hiring in our Job Squad report. You're watching News 3 this morning. Welcome back. Unemployment may be dire here in Southern Illinois, but there are places in the region hiring. Here's a closer look at our Job Squad report this morning.
The College of Applied Sciences and Arts at SIU is looking for a clinical instructor position in the dental hygiene program. Now, the position begins in August. Applicants must be licensed in Illinois and have at least 3 years experience. A master's degree is required for this teaching position. Apply by June 1st by sending a resume and references to the address on your screen.
Pyramid Staffing is working with Continental Tire in Mount Vernon with a mass hiring event. They're looking for people with experience in mining, construction, industrial engine machinery repair, quality assurance, and forklift machinery operators. Pay range is from $10 to $15 an hour. A job fair is being held the next 3 Fridays from 10 until 2 at the One Stop in Mount Vernon. And the Great Clips in Marion is hiring a hairstylist. They're looking for someone with experience cutting hair and a great attitude. Stylists work flexible schedules and have an opportunity for advancement within the company. To apply, go online to salonjobs.greatclips.com or swing by the location on Carbon Street in Marion.
Finally, Frankfurt Healthcare and Rehabilitation in West Frankfurt is hiring a couple of different positions. They're looking for a part-time registered and licensed practical nurses to work the evening shift. Certified nursing assistants for the day shift as well. You can apply in person or send a resume to the address on your screen. These jobs will be listed at WSILTV.com a little later this morning.
Putting accuracy first, this is News 3 weather.
Rain showers are continuing to make their way through the region this morning. A large portion of the region will start to see that rain here rather shortly if you did dry out. Some of us have been dealing with the persistent rain all day long, and that's really just going to be the case even into the afternoon hours, eventually starting to taper off late in the evening hours. But we will have to deal with the rain much of the day today. Temperatures right now in the 40s and 50s, 50 in DuQuoin, 52 in Fairfield, 49 in Goreville. So not only is it wet out there, it's also pretty cool. So make sure that you grab that jacket, all of the rain gear, probably a good idea for the day today. Temperatures will remain in the 50s, 54 at 9 o'clock, 56 at noon, and 58 for your high temperature. We'll fall back into the low 50s overnight and eventually into the 40s by tomorrow morning. Those showers will start to taper off slowly into the evening hours, but rain again in the forecast for tomorrow and even into your Friday. Good Morning America is coming up next. Here's a preview of what they're working on with Amy Robach.
Good morning. Coming up next on Good Morning America.
Welcome back. Recapping our top stories today. 2 men are on the run this morning after a bank robbery in Murfreesboro.
It happened at the Old National Bank on Walnut Street. Police say both men had guns and ran away with cash. The same bank was robbed back in January. No word, though, if these two crimes are connected.
Closing arguments are expected today in a Williamson County murder trial. Cindy Stearns is charged in the 2011 death of her father, Charles James. The 73-year-old was shot to death at his Freeman Spur home. Look for any updates tonight on News 3. Leaders in McLeansboro have changed their minds on a zoning issue. The city council had expanded zoning to a mile beyond city limits. That means residents just outside of town would have to pay for city building permits to make upgrades on their homes. After a meeting last night, Mayor Dick Dietz says those residents are no longer included in the zoning plan.
Lawmakers could decide on a spending plan before the end of the week. Several committees are scheduled to meet in Springfield today and discuss the fate of two different spending plans. One option extends the 2011 income tax hike. The other is full of cuts and would go back to what the rates were before the original numbers. Now, Democrats support the plan to extend that tax hike. And here's a fish tale about one that tried to get away, but a teenager in Ohio now has video proof that the fish didn't. 16-year-old Jake Sawyer saved a 40-pound carp from a flooded street in his neighborhood. The fish apparently made its way to the street after a nearby pond had overflowed Monday night.
Jake says the carp struggled as he scooped it up after a quick photo op. He quickly returned the fish to the pond. He says his arms started falling asleep as he carried the massive fish back to where it belonged. That is a huge fish.
40 pounds. They said they can get up to 80 pounds actually. So he went back the next day with a reporter and actually saw the fish, or what they thought was the fish, swimming in the pond where they returned it to. So a good fish tale there.
Fish tale, happy ending.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Wow.
we may see a lot of rain and potential for flash flooding as well, I guess, maybe?
There is a small chance for some of that flooding. The good thing is the rains are coming pretty slow and steady, so I think that any of those problems will be pretty isolated, but we'll continue to keep an eye on it. Showers expected throughout the entire day today, kind of off and on, and they will eventually taper off this evening. Temperatures only in the 50s today, so rather cool, especially compared to the 80s that we've had over even just earlier this week. It's only a high of 58 today, and very cold tomorrow morning with temperatures in the 40s.
Quite a big difference.
Yes.
Thanks, Ashley. We're back at 7:25.